All right, welcome to Punk Rock Dads TV. Today we have someone here who's pretty special. He's the drummer from everyone's favorite band. Come on, let's face it. We've got Erik Sandin, Smelly from No Effects. How are you, man?
You hit on something when you said kind of special. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of special. Special in a good way.
No, I mean, my teachers used to call me dumb, and my mom used to say, "You're not dumb, you're just special." So, that's what that means.
That's true. Unique.
Yeah, or slightly challenged.
Challenged.
You got to be careful. You got to be careful what you say these days. People get pissed off.
Right. Yeah. So, what's happening today? Where are you? Where do we find you, Erik?
Sitting in my backyard, right next to my back door.
Right.
Next to, I don't know, a fold-up table. And
Nice.
just talking to you, bastards,
cool.
about, I guess, punk rock and fatherhood.
Cool. Yeah. Well, fatherhood. Let's get on with it. How many kids have you got, and what do they think of your profession?
I have 3 kids.
Right.
One's mine, 2 stepkids.
Right.
What do they think? Well, I think my daughter, the oldest, she's 23. She likes punk rock. I think, I'm still dad, but I mean, she, I think she thinks it's cool. The 2 stepkids, I mean, I've been in their life for most of their lives. One's turning 20 in a couple days, and the other one's 17.
Right.
I think they give 2 shits. I really do, because I mean, first off, they listen to that shitty ass rap music that's out these days.
Yeah.
I've become my dad by saying that music sucks.
Yeah.
But I'm just dad. I'm just stepdad and dad. And I got a good relationship with them all. But okay, here's an example of how much one of my stepsons really gives a shit about us playing, about my band. He's never seen us before, and this was probably about 8 years ago. And we were playing literally 2 miles from my house. 2 miles.
Right.
And I come back to pick him up because he said he wanted to go. And, he's like playing video games. He's like, I don't want to go. Can I just stay home and play video games? I'm like, no, dude. I mean, this is an opportunity. He's like, next time. 2 miles from my house. And the fucking kid was didn't want to go see his dad play music in front of, it was a big show, like 10,000 people. Really hurt my feelings. Really hurt. But then I fucking forced him to go. I said, no, this means a lot to me. Took him to the show, and he had a great time, and he played drums.
Oh, really?
There you go.
Well, he never played drums, but I got him up there, and he banged away. But I mean, he just didn't, they don't care.
Yeah. But I bet he would have enjoyed that. So he played a song with you?
No, I just like in between songs, I said, sit down up there and just make noise, and just like that.
Yeah, the crowd would have given him a lot of feedback though.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, they just look at it. They just look at it like, all right, Chris, what is your dad, or what did your dad do for a living, or whatever?
He was kind of all sorts, really. He was quite boring office jobs, payroll, finance.
Okay. So did you give a shit about it? It was just dad's
Not really.
work. It was just
exactly.
Same thing.
Yeah, and because it's just the day to day, isn't it? You just kind of you go and my dad had a 9 to 5 job, came home. You've got you're condensing your 9 to 5s into a period of a week here and a week there, and then you just dick around with the rest of the time, don't you?
Yeah,
you're away, and then you come back and
they just know me for the guy at home.
Yeah, I guess it's how much you make of it as well, isn't it? If you make a scene out of it, and dad's this big rock star, and but you just go and do your shit and come back. Yeah,
I mean that's it. I mean, I don't give 2 shits about any kind of rock star fame or accolades or anything like that. So I don't make a big deal of it. There's not fucking No Effects shit hanging all over the house.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess that's refreshing as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's that?
I said it's refreshing. You don't get the kind of
I'm just a dude, just to play his drums. It's just it.
Yeah.
The band's been known for long periods of time between tours and stuff. So, and you don't tour for years at a time. So, the times that you are away from home, is it just does it just roll on pretty easy for the family? They get on well without you? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's an accurate statement. We actually do tour, or did tour, quite a bit.
Right.
Like every year we would have like, I think the longest we took off is probably like 6 or 8 months or something like that.
Okay.
Not touring. Like we would tour,
Yeah.
But
it's not Australia.
Yeah. You can only go to that goddamn island so many times.
Yeah.
We're not like, some bands, excuse me, will go out for like 2 years straight, and then they'll be home for 2 years. Right. No, we don't do that. We'll go out for 6 weeks straight, come home for 3 weeks, go out for a month straight, come home for a month, and just spread it out.
Yeah.
But, since this COVID shit's been going on, I mean, I haven't gotten on an airplane in almost 2 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I can imagine that doing it in stints like that makes more sense, doesn't it? Because you must get fatigued and, road weary, all that sort of stuff. And it's going to take its toll on you as people and as a band and the whole ensemble. Yeah, you're going to lose your peak at some point, aren't you? You'll start declining.
Like after about 3 or 4 weeks, it's like, okay, I think I got to go home. But to answer your question, it's like, how does it take its toll on the family? It's, the kids are whatever the kids. When I come home, they're all fucking, yay, whatever, or just teenagers like, with the wife, like every time I go away, whether it's for 2 weeks or it's for fucking a month and a half, when I come home, the first like 4, 5, 6, 8 days is a little like everybody has to
feel back into it.
Yeah. There's a readjustment period because the other person leaves, the other person picks up the slack, and then I pop back in, and I'm like, "What's up? What's for dinner?" Or whatever it may be. And she's like, there's a readjustment period, and it's always like that for every fucking musician, any guy that travels away for a living. And the first week's a little, like, I don't know if awkward's the word, but the wife is more or less getting used to having the dude back in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's just got everything tidy. Everything's where it should be.
Yeah.
And then you come back and just start leaving spoons in the sink.
Right, and then you get the conversation like, when you were gone, the house was so freaking clean and everything was there was no issues whatsoever.
That's right. No kids, the kids didn't fight. Yeah.
Bastards. Little bastards.
So you mentioned COVID before. Obviously, that's been a huge part of everyone's lives the last 12, 18 months. How's it affected you, and what changes if you had to make?
I mean, a lot of changes. I mean, I'm 100% unemployed, and I've never had that for for the last like almost 30 years. The band I didn't make a living off of the band until 1994. That's when we started making a living.
Yeah.
It's just weird not having a schedule. It's weird not having like, okay, I'm home for 2 weeks or I'm home for 3 months. Like, but knowing that there's a date coming up, a job coming up, tours coming up, it's kind of a mind fuck. It's a little depressing. It's also sort of liberating. That's my wife. Sort of liberating because having that countdown, always living on a clock, always living on a deadline. Like, okay, you got 3 weeks, you got 2 weeks, you got 1 week. Not having that feels good, but at the same time, not being employed and not being emotionally or financially ready for retirement, fucking hurts. Sucks.
Yeah.
My wife works full time, and the whole financial burden is falling onto her. And raising the kids and all this stuff, we have to be a double income family, and it's a lot of pressure on her, which makes me feel like I'm not participating, even though I can't participate.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Were you? Did you have much of a routine before? Are you like a pretty scheduled routine, or do you take things as it comes? So making that transition is going to be difficult, isn't it?
Like when it comes back to work? What do you mean?
No, in your day to day, like kind of suddenly not having anything to do for long periods of time. Does that shake you up?
Yeah, it shook me up. But then I readjusted my schedule. I started I shaped surfboards for a hobby and for sort of a job. And I started really diving into that just to give me something to, like, now every day I wake up at 7, I'm out of the house at 8. I go do.
Good. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not just sitting at home going,
Oh, that's the worst, isn't it? Because it's really easy to do that.
Yeah.
Really easy to slip into that, man.
Yeah, I know. And I knew that I couldn't do that, because, I have issues with depression and being lazy and all this kind of stuff. I knew if I fell into that, it could steam.
It compounds on itself.
Yeah.
So surfboard shaping, pickle sticks. I came across pickle sticks on Instagram about a year ago, I think. And I had no idea that, 1, you surfed, 2, you made your own surfboards. That's pretty rad. Tell us more about that.
I've been doing it for 13 years.
All right.
I've been surfing for like 30 years.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. And, there's an art to surfing. It's I know it sounds kind of weird and all this stuff, but there's sort of this like at one with nature, water, artsy kind of a vibe to it.
Yeah.
And then I noticed, like, there's a lot of really reputable shapers out there. There's an art to shaping surfboards, and I wanted to explore that. Just the same as I wasn't just happy enough listening to music, I wanted to play it. Just as enough as wasn't happy enough just surfing, even though I am, I wanted to explore, go deeper into it. So 13 years ago, I started shaping surfboards in my garage. And fast forward 13 years, here I am now doing it as a full-time COVID job, shaping out lots and lots and lots of boards.
It looks like it, yeah. And I watched the videos you put up, and it is absolutely an art. You're planing those rails, and it's just, rolling the transitions. It's beautiful to watch, and it's cool. Not just cutting out a shape.
No, there's a lot of little subtleties. There's like even the bottom of the board. There's concaves. Mm-hmm. Different styles of boards have different. Do you know much about surfing?
I surf a bit, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I mean, like some boards have single concave. Like it's like, how can I explain it? You flip the board upside down and it has a trench. Mm-hmm. Some boards have double. Some boards are flat. Some boards have belly. And it's fucking cool. It's just a good way to close out the world, shut the doors, be in this little fucking room, and just get lost.
And the finishes you're doing, they're really cool. Like the paint jobs.
Yeah, I got some. I mean, that's for the some of them are mine, but for the most part, I have some really good artists.
Yeah, they're rad.
I've painted some, and some of them come out pretty good. But there's some artists that are just absolutely insane. That are good friends of mine, and they're fucking good. Yeah,
cool. So, is this it's turning into more of a hobby now? You're selling boards. Have you got staff working for you?
No, it was a hobby.
Yeah.
Now it's turning into a job.
Yeah, that's right.
No, I'm doing the surfboard thing 100% by myself, everything.
Yep.
And even like during the day when I'm not shaping, I'm running around picking up blanks. I'm running around picking up artwork. There's a lot going to all the different factories that are glassing my boards or painting the boards and making sure everything's online. But I sell t-shirts, a little bit, t-shirts and hoodies and hats and whatnot. And I have a partner with that. He does like all the e-commerce stuff that I'm just completely special with.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. Everyone should check it out.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, Pickle Sticks _.
Right. Yeah, we'll put the link down below. I think that's what the kids do.
Or picklestickssurfboards.com.
Right.
Pickle sticks with an X.
Yeah. What does pickle sticks mean? Where did that come from?
Tell you where it came from.
All right.
The second board I ever shaped, a little 6-foot Simon Anderson copy fish.
Mm-hmm.
And I painted it green. And it kind of came out like a green board, so I called it my pickle stick. I was like, that's my pickle stick.
Yeah.
Let's go surf today. What are you going to surf? I'm going to surf the pickle stick.
Yeah.
And I just thought had a good ring to it.
Yeah.
That's how they come about, isn't it?
Yeah,
how these names you can't force those names. They're organic, aren't they? They just
a lot of people in the surfboard industry have like these, like they use their initials, DHD or MR surfboards, or like all these things. And I was like, no, they pickle sticks.
Cool. You also ride motocross, is that right? You're pretty good at that, I hear.
I'm okay for an old man.
Right.
Last weekend, got first place.
Yeah, that's
nice.
good. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say you mentioned that you like music, you have to drum. You like surfing, you have to do have to make the boards. Is that the same sort of principle that got you into the Moto XXX? You like motocross, therefore you have to I have a team. Fuck it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean that's kind of what it was. How Moto XXX came about. It's like, yes, I rode and raced motorcycles, but then there was all these fucking bullshit videos out, like these free riding videos. They were just so boring, and so me and Jordan from Strung Out just said, "Fuck it, let's make some videos like the Big Brother videos, or let's make some videos like the snowboard world, like partying, girls, crazy stuff, And that's exactly it. It was the same thing. It was like taking a passion of mine and just having to go deeper into it. Maybe it has something to do with my addictive personality, I got issues with drugs and alcohol. I'm clean and sober now, but maybe it has something to do with that. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to fucking do it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't strike me as the kind of person who does something by halves. If you're gonna do it, just get in there and do it. It makes sense. I mean, it's cool. Not everyone can run their own sports team, and it's a great opportunity. And I read up a little bit about it, and actually in the book as well, that you shook things up, didn't you?
Yeah.
People, you. It sounds really cheesy, but you did it in a punk rock way, didn't you?
That was the whole thing. The industry was so corporate and so stale and no personality.
Yeah.
Fuck it, no. These kids that are racing have personality. These kids that are racing are fucking just stupid kids. Let's fucking party. Let's have a good time.
Mm.
And so, but and we ended up doing really well and becoming one of the most successful independent team in history. Winning races and top 10ing and all this kind of stuff. But it was all done under punk rock ethics.
Yeah.
Some dudes out of the industry just fucking doing it. And yeah, it shook things up. And then since then, there's been a lot of other independent teams that have come, not with the same fuck you attitude, but more like, no, we're just going to do it our way. We kind of open the doors to that.
Yeah. Cool.
Was there ever any kind of interference between kind of racing and motocross and being in the band? Did they ever, did anyone ever say, "Don't break your leg, we're going on tour next week"?
No, I've always lived by the strict rule of 1 month prior to any kind of band engagement, I don't ride a motorcycle.
Clever.
Strict, because it's not if I get hurt, it's not fair to the guys, it's not fair to the crew. Can't do that.
Yeah, there's a lot of other people depending on your work for their work, isn't there?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And entertainment, people that have worked to save up the money, that have bought the tickets, that have taken the time off. It's not just 1 month before any engagement, I don't do anything. I'll surf, but that's it.
Yeah, can't hurt yourself too bad surfing.
Yeah, get some stitches, or just drowned.
Yeah,
but
lost at sea.
Yeah, the end result of drowning is not a lot of pain at the end of it, so it's okay.
Yeah, I hear it's the way to go.
Dude, I don't know, man. That sounds pretty fucking scary to me. I think I'd rather burn. I think I'd rather burn to death, honestly.
Right.
I really do. I think your body would collapse out of shock faster than sitting underwater for 2 minutes trying to breathe.
True.
I'm not a fan of that. That's one of the few things, like kind of claustrophobia and kind of like being like caving. I'm not going caving. Those people who go, I'm fine for that. Thank you very much. Imagine getting caught down there.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm good.
All right. So we touched on the book just briefly then, The Hepatitis Bathtub. We've all read it. I've listened to it multiple times. It's an amazing book. Your parts particularly are really, really heartfelt and insightful. Was it did you have to dig up these memories? Had you blocked them out for a while, or were they all still in your mind?
No, they're all there because it's who I am. I mean, I was living with the demons of my past and the demons of my childhood and all that stuff daily, and it's not like I woke up one day and was like, bing, oh, this happened or that happened, or I did this or I did that. No, that was all there. And it actually was really felt good to get it out. A lot of the stuff I'd already talked through, in therapeutic situations, So it took sort of the pressure off saying it.
Yeah.
You know, but no, it felt good to get out there. And the thing is when we decided to write the book, it was, okay, we're going to write a book, but it can't be like, oh, fuck yeah, rock and roll, chicks, cocaine, strippers, woo. You know, Motley Crue has that book.
Yeah.
You know, let's talk about who we are.
Yeah.
What people don't know is that we're regular people that have feelings and have been through trauma or that have done stupid things or whatever it is. So that's why the focus is on us rather than the band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really, really great way of doing it.
Yeah. And it shows. It's like I said, what Richard said, it is heartfelt and it's real, and you know, and it's quite kind of, it's very honest. And I think one of the, I don't know if it was your quote or somebody else, but I read one of the things I said, look, you know, we're not going to finger bang this. It's just warts and all. This is what it is. And I like the way that you, because it was over, what was it, 4 or 5 years, something like that. All the kind of stories were collated, and so it's not like everyone sat down for a day and told their story. It's just pieces here and there that kind of bounced around.
Yeah, each one of us probably did 30 or 40 hours of interviews. And then the guy took the interviews and just started piecing it together, you know.
Right.
The guy, being Jeff, the guy that wrote the book, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's it's interesting the different perspectives on the same story. You remember it one way, you know, Melvin remembers it another way.
Funny you say that.
What happened at the end when you all read it, and you know, there's differences of opinion there.
You know, it's everybody's story and everybody's perspective.
Right.
But it's funny that you brought up Melvin's memory, because the guy Jeff Alulis, who wrote the book, also did Backstage Passport, that TV show, and both of those were his first endeavors in those kind of things, and he fucking killed it.
Good job.
Yeah. But Jeff called me up one day. He's like, "All right, dude, I got to ask you something. You remember things pretty much the same as Hefe. Hefe remembers it pretty much the same as Mike. So that means you and Mike remember it pretty much the same way. Melvin is always." You know, you guys say the grass was green and the sky was blue. Melvin's like, we were on a boat next to a volcano. So it just is what it is. But Melvin's memories, even the author was like, oh, it does not jive with any of our memories.
Right.
It makes sense though, because he's just like such a, well, what's up? Okay, everything's cool kind of guy.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose you said there it was kind of almost a cathartic experience getting it all out. And obviously, my first exposure to it was the audiobook, and which I think was a brilliant way of doing it, and having you all read your own chapters. And obviously, you know, I mean, on a side note, it was quite cool. You got Jello in to do. Was it Dave or Steve? Did one of them?
Oh fuck!
I think it was Dave. I think it was Dave's chapter.
I'm not sure who it was.
Yeah, but did you find it? Like you said, you'd gone through those sort of things in the therapeutic sessions before, but did you find that actually reading the words that you may have spoken out, maybe you could have had this interview 4 years ago, and then it's all typed up, and then you read it?
Great question, because when I did the interviews, it was just speaking. When I read the final draft, it was me reading, and it was just a story. You know what I mean? It was just me reading it, and I got lost in it. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. But when I actually came down with a microphone in a room all by myself, it was dark.
Yeah.
Couldn't see anybody. Just reading it with it in front of my face. I got teared up a couple times because that is being very vulnerable and very honest. Like I was by myself putting it out there, even though I'd put it out in words, but speaking my parts to the world for them to hear it was pretty fucking weird. Like it was dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet.
It's like learning your lines, isn't it? You know, you can reciting something out loud teaches you in a very different way. So you kind of, and say that particularly, like you said, almost like an out of body experience, and then suddenly you go, oh shit, that's me. It was
weird, man. Yeah,
I can imagine.
When I would read the book, I read it when I got it. It was just a cool story, and I got lost, and then I remembered, like, oh fuck, this is me, and that made me realize, okay, this is a good book because I got lost in the stories. But when I was actually reading it, knowing that it was like I am telling my story and the emotions that were coming up while reading it, and then trying to convey those emotions, it was fucking hard. That was hard.
How long did it take you to read the parts?
I think 2 days, about 4 hours a day or something like that.
Okay.
It wasn't
Because it's long. It's like, what is it? It's 10 hours?
12 hours, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I listened to it on a flight from Australia to LA, and it was like the whole flight, you know. I just listened to it nonstop.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it took me maybe 2 full days, but whatever way. I mean, it took me a while.
Yeah.
But it took Melvin a long time because he talks slow. And I think it took him like 4 or 5 days.
Right. Has it it must have brought you closer together as a group of friends more than, you know, bandmates?
No, we've always been super close. We really have.
Yeah.
Especially me and Melvin, like super close. So it wasn't like, I mean, yeah, I read stuff in there that I didn't know about people, but for the most part, I knew all the stories, and for the most part, you know, it was just it's something I'm very proud of. I'm very proud of the book. I'm very proud of the decline, and that's about it with the band. I mean, I know that sounds kind of weird. I mean, I'm proud of the band, but those 2 things to me stand out.
Yeah.
All right. We'll get to the decline in a minute. I'll just go one more thing on the book. One of my favorite parts in your story was how you met Aaron Hefe. You know, he's playing in this jazz funk band, Mark Curry, and you decide that, you know, he could be a good fit for the band. How do you broach that to the other guys, and what did they think of that idea initially?
I mean, we were open. You know, it's punk rock. We're not discriminating. You don't have to be the best fucking looking guy in the world. You know what I mean? It's not like we're like some hair metal band where we're trying to sell ourselves on our fucking tan lines, as opposed to, you know, we needed a guitar player. If you could play, if you didn't even have to sing, Hefe just happened to be able to sing, you know, and he happened to be able to play the music. You know, not a lot of people could play Mike's strumming pattern is really weird. And you know, and Hefe picked it up.
Especially non-punk musicians, when they try and play punk, they're like, what the fuck? What is this timing? And it's all over the shop, and it's out of key, and doesn't fit the rules. Yeah.
Like Steve, our guitar player, Steve, was a metal guy. He came from like a trained musical background, like, you know, trained guitar player. And he's like, no, this is wrong. What we're playing is wrong. What do you mean it's wrong? There's no rule. There's no like music police. No, it's right.
It's our song.
You're right. People that don't come from this world and don't really understand. I mean, Hefe didn't come from this world either, but he picked it up pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what an
asset.
asset.
That's the difference, isn't it? When you're a competent musician, you can, because he's clearly, he's a brilliant musician, multiple instruments, and he's got the ear. And if you feel what the music is doing, you can kind of apply yourself to it. But if you're sort of too entrenched in theory, then you're saying, you know, this does not compute, you know.
That is it. It's a feel thing.
Yeah.
It's a feel. It's not a theory thing. You're exactly right. And Hefe is more of a feel player, and Steve, our other guitar player, is a theory player because he was fucking taught by, you know, fucking Yngwie Malmsteen or whoever the fuck it was.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there you go. That's it. Just briefly, one more from me on the book side of things before we move on. Do you, a little bit deep here, so obviously don't go too much if you don't want to, but do you find that after the books were involved, your dad hasn't read it, you've said,
no.
Do you find it's impacted your relationship at all in a good or bad way with both being a father and a son? Have you kind of have your kids looked at you differently, or you looked at them differently?
Well, not the kids. I've always been a very attentive dad. I've never drank in their lives, so I've never had an alcohol issue. I've never been abusive. But for me and my dad, just getting it out there, like actually saying I love you, because I've never said it to him. Actually, I've said it once since then, and he just ignored it. You know, he can't say it. It relieves some of the pressure, and it, like, just, you know, yeah. Me and my dad are fucking good now. It took 40 fucking years, but we're solid.
That's good.
So, my mom read the book and told my dad not to. But the thing is my dad's a big, strong, scary kind of guy, but it's all because he's super sensitive on the inside, you know? And at the end of the book, I come back around thanking my dad for who he is and telling him I love him, right?
Yeah.
You won't hear that because he's so sensitive. He'll get stuck on the negative, you know? So my mom even realizes that too. So it's just best that he doesn't read it, you know. But here's the funny story about that. Jeff, the guy that wrote the book, had heard all these stories about my dad, and even from the guys in the band, you know, because they're like, "Oh, dude, your dad's gnarly." Jeff finally met my dad. Jeff Alulis finally met my dad's named Jeff too, but he finally met my dad. And my dad's like this blue collar, big guy, has like a junkyard, like this small junkyard, and there's guys, you know, it's just like, if you're not from that world, it's kind of weird and intimidating.
Yeah.
Jeff Alulis, the author, comes walking in, and I go, "Hey, Dad, this is Jeff. This is the guy writing the book." And my dad looked him in the eye and he goes, "You're not going to make me look like a fucking asshole now, are you?" That's the first thing my dad said. And Jeff just like,
just get this out of the way.
yeah, he said, "You're not going to make me look like an asshole." And that's the only thing my dad said to him the whole time.
All right. Well, yeah, it's an awesome book, and I suggest anyone and everyone read it. Now, The Decline for me is a fucking masterpiece. It's like the Stairway to Heaven, or, you know, Bohemian Rhapsody. You know, that's what it does for me. And I think Chris would probably feel the same. And
I'm going to go one step further and say I think it is probably my favourite song of all the pieces of music that have hit my ears. I don't think anything has kind of pulled strings in the way that The Decline has. The first time I heard it, it's the beginning. Just the cymbals at the beginning. Yeah. You're just like, this is different. And then
I remember exactly where I was when I first heard The Decline. So
where was it?
Yeah. We were broken down in my family's car. We were waiting for the tow truck to come. It was like 9 o'clock at night, and it was played on Australian radio. But he only played like 3 minutes of it. He played a section, and I was just like, I have to get this song. And I went to my local music shop and I ordered it, and it took 3 weeks to come in. And the little CD disc with the clear outline. Oh man, everything was just fucking perfect.
Oh man, that's a cool story.
Where do you even fade that down? Where do you fade it down after 3 minutes?
Yeah. He just grabbed a section.
The guy, the producer's like, "Oh, enough."
Well, he said, you know, this is no effects, and you know, it's an 18-minute song, and I was just like, what?
Was it Triple J radio?
It was Triple J. It was Richard Kingsmill who played it on Triple J. Yeah, back.
Nice. Nice.
So, obviously, you just mentioned you're very proud of that. It's the latest iteration of it with Baz's orchestra is, you know, mind blowing. How was that experience for you, bringing that all around?
Mind blowing. That was fucking mind blowing. Like that was a highlight of playing. The culmination of 40 years, almost 40 years of being together. Like that was like the highlight. Red Rocks, that venue is insane. Yeah. That place is like fucking insane. The orchestra was, I mean, it was just, I can't explain it. It was outer body. Like I'm playing and going like, oh my God. A lot of time, I mean, this sounds weird, but I'm playing and I'm thinking like, oh, you know, what happened to me in third grade when I was playing kickball and I got in a fight with this guy, or, you know,
got to pick up milk on the way home.
Yeah. I had spaghetti for dinner last night. I'm going to, you know, I better, you know, whatever. Like that was just out of body, out of mind. It was just, you know what I mean? Just feeling it. It just like the farther we got into it, and the more that finish line coming up, was like, fuck, we're doing this. We're doing it. And it's fucking working. Baz absolutely is a musical genius. That guy can play any instrument better than anybody, every instrument you can imagine.
Right.
And for him, he first orchestrated that when he was 16 years old. Yeah. You know, if you go on YouTube, you can see him 16 years old.
I was going to say, because he looks young. I've never heard of him or knew who he was before I came across this.
I think he's 27 now.
Yeah. So what's his story? Where does he come from? Is he like how did it come about?
He presented when he was 16 years old. He presented a video of him doing the orchestra. I mean, you know, doing the orchestra, conducting it to Mike, and he said, "I want to do this with you guys one day." And we're like, "How? It's fucking impossible." Whatever. But him and Mike, you know, started a relationship of sorts. You know, I mean, emails, whatever. About 3 years ago, we were playing someplace in France, and he goes, it was a festival, and there was a side tent, and it was, I don't know what it was called, but it was a side tent, and Baz is like, we're doing the orchestra there tonight. You guys should come watch it. So he did the orchestra. And then we came up for the last like 30 seconds of it and played. He did all 18 minutes. And then we're like, fuck, we can do this, man. If we just, we'd already been playing The Decline live, if we can do it. So Baz, it just got the gears rolling, and it just adds so much to it.
Yeah.
You know?
It literally brought a tear to my eye watching it. I live streamed the event, and I was absolutely blown away. It was amazing.
Yeah, if you look at it, I think Mike has tears in his eyes at the end of it, and halfway too.
You can actually like see the joy on all four of your faces in that.
Yeah.
When we watched Baz present The Decline in the orchestra form that night in France, all four of us at that festival, all four of us were on the side of the stage watching. All four of us were literally crying, like with our hands on each other, because it was just like, oh my God, like we wrote this music and listened to it applied differently, you know? Yeah,
wow, amazing.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm glad you do play it live. I remember like when it was a new song. It's 20 years old now, right?
22. Came out in 1999.
Yeah, I remember thinking, I will never see this song live. Like they'll never play it, and then you started playing it. Yeah,
we never thought we would either.
Yeah,
and then we started talking about it maybe like in 2005 or something like that. And how I approached it is I just broke it down into like 30 different songs.
Yeah,
pieced it together. You know,
I mean, what is there? There's maybe
I have no
7 or 8 different movements.
Oh no, there's a lot more than that.
Is it more than that? Get me saying movements like I'm a fucking musician, but you know, it's kind of it's about, you can kind of break it into kind of like, you know, 2-3 minute songs that match up, but even within them,
I broke it down into each section is like 30 seconds long or something like that. And I just broke it, like that's what I did. I just took each part as its own song, and then that's how we recorded it. We recorded it however many different parts there are. You know, the first part with the hi-hat.
Yeah.
And then and then I would play as far as I could, and then when I fucked up, and then we just start there. It was pre-Pro Tools. That was all recorded on tape.
Yeah, nice.
But it was all written on a wall of like a bunch of different songs.
Yeah.
You know, and then that's how we all approached it, playing it live.
Do you know, I just remembered one question that I've always wondered, and now I get a chance to ask you, is when did you record it? Where? Because I've always thought that the production on it is very similar to songs that are in albums around that time. Did you record it in an album session and keep it separate, or did you record it as its own entity?
Its own entity.
It's got a very.
We recorded it at Mike's studio. He had a studio called Motor Studios in San Francisco, and it was Ryan Green did it, the guy that did Punk and Jublick and all that stuff. And yeah, it was recorded. I think I did the drums in 2 days at the studio.
Awesome. Well, it's yesterday you dropped a new album on us.
Yeah, I guess so.
You remember about that one?
Not really. I recorded that over 2 years ago.
Right. Yeah.
Over 2 years ago, I did the tracks.
Okay. It's pretty dark. It's pretty dark.
Yeah, Mike was in a weird spot at that time.
Yeah. How do you feel about it?
I haven't listened to it since.
Right.
I mean, we recorded 25 or 26, 27 songs because it was going to be 2 records, but then we whittled it down to 1 because a lot of them were really fucking weird. I haven't listened to it start to finish in a long time, so I can't give you an honest assessment.
Okay.
Because I did it 2 fucking years ago. You know what I mean? It's, you know, I don't know.
Well, I've had my second listen, and there's some good tracks and some good parts, but I think it's going to be a creeper on me.
You know, creepers actually work out better in the long run too, because
I think so. Yeah.
You know,
they're not as obvious.
Right. I take that. I accept that. That's a good answer.
I've not listened to this one quite so much. I've listened to it once through, but what did stick out with me is, in fact, the last show that I saw before England went into lockdown was Frank Turner, and I really enjoyed the split. That kind of split opinion for some people, and lots of people warmed to it, but others were like, because I read on Facebook, there's a lot of people that didn't know the other one and were saying, what the fuck's this? You know, And like Frank's version of Falling in Love, and your version of his songs and stuff, and that version of Falling in Love is spectacular.
Dude, Frank is a great guy. He's such a cool guy, and that's kind of why we wanted to do it. We wanted to kind of cross genres.
Yeah,
like play, because not everybody in our world knows Frank Turner. It's a good. I think that record's better than the Rancid split. We did that one in about 40 minutes, and I think Rancid spent less time.
Thank you, because as much as I love the Rancid split, that came into my life just at the right time. And I only worked out very recently that the two different covers, the orange and the yellow, have one band in front of the other, the orange and the green. There's an orange one and a green one, and that was really weird. And I was just like, why are they different? Because they're all the same songs, but one of them's got NoFX first and one of them's got Rancid first. And I found that out like 2 months ago.
20 years later.
Yeah. But that's it. I'm the same. I think I prefer that to the Rancid split.
Me too.
All right, Erik. I think we're getting to the end of it. We always ask our guys one question, the Mount Rushmore question. You want to take that one, Chris?
Yeah. So the various people that we've interviewed have all given us an answer on who would your punk Mount Rushmore be. You've got 4 faces.
Okay, Iggy Pop. He started punk rock.
Yeah.
The Raw Power record, that's punk rock.
Okay.
Iggy Pop, number 1. Oh boy.
There's no right or wrong answer.
I know, but I got to go Jello Biafra because Dead Kennedys are so fucking Dead Kennedys.
Yeah. Right.
I don't want to keep everything old. Okay, I got to go with Brett Gurewitz from Epitaph Records, songwriter. Are these the same guys you picked?
No. I'm just counting them.
I got to go with Brett Gurewitz because Bad Religion's a phenomenal band, and he's been their songwriter since day one. Right. And Epitaph Records had a lot to help with. Oh man, I can't go with the Ramones. I mean, I love the Ramones, but I can't go with it.
Do you know that was? Do you know Miguel Chen? Teenage Bottle Rocket? Yeah. The Ramones were his 4. He was like job done.
It's cliche.
But they are. If anyone's going to pick the Ramones, it's probably going to be someone from Bottle Rocket.
Yeah, they're 1, 2, 3, 4. So how many do I got now? I got 3 or 4.
You got one more.
You got 4. One left.
One left. Stiv Bators.
Who's that?
Stiv Bators, the singer for the Dead Boys.
Okay.
He's dead now.
Right.
Dead Boys was the first punk band that I ever heard or listened to or whatever. And fucking great. Great. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, Erik, today. It's been
my
great.
pleasure.
Yeah,
Chris
cool.
and Richard. How come we don't call you Dick, Richard?
Not many people get away with it, but I'll allow it, Erik. You can call me Dick.
All right, Dick.
Cheers, man.
All right, guys. I'm going to go out on a dinner date with my wife, and thank you for allowing me to do this.
Oh, bless you.
Cheers, man.
Nice
All
one.
right.
Bye, man.
Take it easy.
Pleasure.
See you,
Take care, man. See ya.